Hi, welcome to OsteoWarriors. That's with a capital TEA, where OsteoWarriors in treatment and recent survivors spill the tea on all things osteosarcoma from the cancer, adolescent, young adult patient perspective. Listen in on our honest and personal conversations about our osteo experiences, stories, and who knows what else. We tend to go off topic a lot. This podcast discusses all aspects of the young adult cancer experience in a conversational format. Audience discretion is advised. Like and follow MIB agents on social media for all the intel. I'd like to start out with a couple announcements. So we have Giving Tuesday coming up, and you might be wondering, what is Giving Tuesday? Well, like I said, follow us on MIB Agents on all social media platforms and stay tuned for more information on that. We'd also like to discuss our Outbarking Osteosarcoma campaign, which began in November and goes on all throughout November. This campaign is to raise awareness for osteosarcoma in canines, which is actually more prevalent than it is in humans. Throughout this campaign, we will be asking for donations for bandanas for your cute little dogs. I actually have one right here. This is my late dog Zuma. This is her outbarking osteosarcoma bandana. If you'd like one for your dog, you just have to go to our website and it's a donation of $16 and you receive this really cute bandana. They come in different sizes. On top of receiving the bandana, if you submit a photo of your dog, you can be entered to win prizes for your little pooch. One last thing, we've spoken about it a couple times, but Factor 2025 is already underway as far as preparations go. It's going to happen in Salt Lake City, Utah, June 26th through the 28th. So mark your calendars and we hope to see you all there. Welcome back, guys. We're going to start out with our What's the Tea segment where we go around and share the tea, but actually what kind of tea are you drinking? So for me, I'm drinking a lemon tea. And let me tell you a bit about myself. I'm Samantha Ulloa. I'm 22 years old. I live in Southern California, and I'm currently pursuing a degree in biology, even though I'm taking a gap semester. I was diagnosed with osteosarcoma at the age of 19 in August of 2022. I underwent treatment until May of 2023, and halfway through my treatment in November of 2022, I underwent a limb salvage surgery, and now I have an internal prosthetic in my right leg. Like I said, drinking lemon tea, I would rate it an 8.5 maybe, just because I'm really partial to lemon tea and I've had this thing going on with my throat recently, so it's been very, very helpful. Matthew, do you want to go next?
Yeah, so I'm Matthew Seelan. I'm 22. I almost said 19. No, it's been it's been
Close
quick
enough.
coming up. Yeah, I'm 22. I am currently living in Madison, Wisconsin. I go to UW-Madison, so go Badgers. And I had osteosarcoma when I was 15. I had two limb salvage surgeries, one an allograft in my humerus, and then the other a fibular arthroplasty. I am drinking bubbler, which is a Wisconsin thing. I swear to God, I tried to make tea and then I looked through all the cabinets and I don't have any tea left. So next podcast, I promise I'll be drinking tea since I love tea so much.
That's okay, whatever you have available. That sounds really good. I've never heard of that, but I'm gonna have to look into it. Okay, Mackenzie, do you want to go next?
Yeah, hello, my name is MacKenzie. I'm 18 and I'm from Arkansas. Um, I was diagnosed in 2020 when I was 14. I had the MAP treatment for 9 months in the middle, actually on April 1st, which sounds like a joke, but that's when I had my limb salvage surgery. Um, about a year later, it got infected and we had to get that cleaned out. So with two surgeries, and then a month or two later, we had the surgery to reconstruct it again. And a few days after that, I was sent home and I was right back in the hospital with heart failure. So, and because of the cancer, I wasn't eligible for transplant. So we got a heart pump to sustain life in the meantime. And then eventually I reached 2 years cancer free and I was able to get on the list, which was awesome. And just recently I had my heart transplant.
Wow. Well, thank you both for being here, both your stories. Thank you for being willing to share and being vulnerable with us. Mackenzie, congratulations on your heart transplant. I know a lot of us have been following along on your journey, and we're all very, very proud of you. I'm so happy for you. Okay, let's jump right into it. Holidays in the hospitals. not ideal. I don't think anyone wants to spend any holiday in the hospital away from your family, away from your home, away from your pets and everything. So for you guys, what was it like to experience the holidays in the hospital, and what holidays were you in the hospital for that are very prevalent in your memory?
Yeah,
All of them.
All of them.
oh
Yeah.
yeah.
So
So,
for me, I was actually in the hospital from August. I mean, obviously August through May. Most major holidays happen during that time. Specifically, I think right now we're entering into the holiday season. I mean, Halloween, Christmas, Thanksgiving. I did not say that in order, but you get the gist of it. I had my limb salvage surgery in November. In preparation to that, obviously, I was in the hospital a lot and I was still continuing with chemo. So I was in the hospital for all three of those holidays back to back. Um, it's tough, honestly. Like, it's difficult being away from home. I remember being really sad because it's different. Obviously, like cancer alters every aspect of your life, and not even holidays are safe. And even now, in retrospect, holidays feel a little bit different. What was your experience having that go on while you were in the hospital?
I can go first. I remember, I guess, because I also had treatment from August until May. It was interesting. It was such a blur. It was just kind of regimental. So, oh, I'm gonna go in this amount, and then because of different treatments, I would be in maybe a week, and then I'd have a week off, or I would just be in a couple days for a certain chemotherapy. So it was really regimental. And for me, I think my family was very flexible about celebrating different holidays. So let's just say Thanksgiving, I was in, um, we would just have Thanksgiving the next week or a couple days later. I would say, honestly, the one that really stuck out was this is after treatment. I had to have a different limb salvage surgery because the donor bone wasn't incorporated into my shoulder. I I love school, so I didn't really want to miss school, but it was also because uh of finals and all that. I had my surgery, I believe, sometime in December, and I had to spend about 2 weeks in the hospital, and that was overlapping with Christmas. And I remember, and my family is throughout the whole journey, they've been really supportive and really helpful. I don't really remember that much of my family not being in the hospital, but I think Christmas was something that was very special for all of us because it's not just the gifts and all that, but it's really the feeling of you're home and you're safe and you're with your family and you're just having a relaxing day. And I remember waking up Christmas morning, my mom was there and she needed to go home for a couple hours just to get ready, and then all my family would come back. But just a couple hours in the hospital felt like days because it was just the feeling that you're alone and you are in the hospital where everybody else is just celebrating with their family and just having a relaxing and fun day. And for me, that was really the hardest part. And it was especially hard because I was out of that regimental kind of feeling of, oh, we're just going to get through this week and then it'll be the next week and stuff like that. I was out for about a year post treatment. And so I don't want to say I softened a bit, but I was out of that idea of just, oh, we're going to get through the next day and the next day. So Christmas was really hard being in the hospital post surgery. But I remember just a way that I felt better was I love sports. So I knew the NBA basketball was coming up. NBA
Mhm.
has a uh, big day for Christmas where they have a lot of games. So it was just kind of waiting for that. And then eventually my parents and my sister were able to come, and we just kind of spent the day in the hospital trying to make it as comfortable and as homely as it could be. But yeah, I would say Christmas was definitely the hardest part, and then just kind of surrounding Christmas, because we have a lot of traditions for that. Uh,
Mhm.
like Christmas Eve, we love to go drive around and then see all the lights. I live by a town called Germantown. There's a house that just, I don't know how much they spend. They must spend like thousands of dollars with these decorations. But we just have little traditions like that, and it was a little bit hard because we weren't able to do all of those. But I think, I guess my overall way that I felt how to make it better was just knowing that we're just gonna adjust. It's gonna be a couple days when I'm out of the hospital and I'll be home, so that would be nice. Or we'll do that a different year, or we'll do something fun and new. So
Mhm.
I guess that was my overall experience of the hospital on Christmas. But
Yeah,
yeah,
it's definitely weird considering we all grew up with different traditions and different cultures and different things that we like to do around the holidays. And cancer just disrupts every single aspect of our life. And I think we say this in every single episode, but people don't really consider that it's also difficult just being there and knowing that it's not the same as it used to be. But it's really nice that you were able to find like some good
yeah,
spirit with like
try
the
and try
basketball
and
and
cover
stuff.
it. Yeah, well, basketball,
Mm.
and then also just kind of I always like to say that during we have in my mind, I always see my memories as before treatment and after treatment.
Mhm.
And the two things that I really love that kind of stood out for me during that time was basketball and Conan
Mhm.
O'Brien. I love Conan. So so for me, it was really nice of just and this kind of in general of kind of holding on to what I really loved and making sure I keep on watching what I love is watching basketball and then watching Conan. I remember about a year before I went to Italy, and then
Mhm.
uh that was like my last big memory before I had cancer. And then I remember it was also around, I think it was around New Year's Eve. Conan produced a show where he went to Italy, and I was able to watch that with my family and laugh and have a good time. But that was something that it was a memory of when of before I had cancer, but I was able to relive those memories and kind of enjoy it, uh, watching Conan kind of go to the same places I went
Mhm.
with my family. So it was really cool. And I think a lot of my memories of, kind of going through um, the holidays where things just aren't really the same is just kind of remember what you love, what you always love about holidays, whether that's Thanksgiving, whether that's Halloween, whether that's whatever. I always just love to try to keep that core idea of what you love about holidays and just other memories and stuff.
I really love that because it can be really easy to get really sad and fall into a really dark place around that time, especially since, like you were saying, it was post your surgery. It's also post my surgery. Like it was difficult to keep your spirits up when not only are you recovering, but you also get put back on chemo. But it's important to hold near and dear like the good memories. And then also, like you were saying, like family makes a big difference. I remember that my hospital holidays weren't super awful because I always had my family there. And thankfully, my nurses and my doctors, they were super, super sweet. They helped me decorate my room so it didn't feel so sad. Like I was still, and then also during that time, like you're saying sports, I remember when I was going through that, it was soccer season or something. Like there was games going on and I put the games on in my room. And I was treated pediatrically and I was always one of the older, actually no, like most of the time the oldest patient on the floor. I remember my nurses and the PCAs used to come into my room and they would stand there and watch the game with me and it was just like it would make me happy, like they would spend time with me doing something that I really enjoy, which was watching soccer. So it's really important to hang on to the things that make you happy because I think that makes all the difference as far as getting through these tough times. What about you, MacKenzie? How was it for you?
Mhm. I felt like if there was a holiday, I was probably in the hospital for it. I was diagnosed in December, and my first chemo was actually like 2 days before Christmas. So I was there Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, but I got to go home on Christmas Day. And I remember going home, opening presents, and then passing out. Like that was the only thing I did. I made sure I was awake for presents, but then I was just out. It was kind of funny in retrospect. And you could just see my hair. It was so bad from like just sleeping on it all the time. So out of energy because like that was like my first chemo I've ever had, so it just really hit me.
Hmm.
But I've had a couple other like big things that really stuck with me. Uh, not really in like chemo days, but afterwards because I kept coming back to the hospital. But when I had my heart stuff, I was like a lot more like lucid and like, hey, let's do this, let's do this. So during like Thanksgiving and Christmas time, that's usually when I spend time with family. Like they would come up to Arkansas and we'd have Thanksgiving. So my grandma and my cousins did come up and my grandma was able to visit me, but still COVID restrictions, so couldn't get to see my cousins and my other grandpa. But she came up, she brought me a little Christmas tree and we decorated and she brought extra presents. And then when Christmas rolled around, I got to be on FaceTime and open presents with everyone, which kind of felt like I was still there, but
Hmm.
it's not really the same. But it
Hmm.
was still really nice.
Yeah, I mean, we do what we can, I think, to maintain a level of normalcy, whether it's FaceTiming family that you're not allowed to be around because of code restrictions or also because we're immunocompromised. So it's really nice that you were able to have that experience. Did you guys have anything special? Like, did your hospitals do anything for you guys around the Christmas time? Like, I remember my hospital did a gift drive type thing. And it was also, I talked about this in the last episode. Actually, no, the last episode about the hallucinations. I was on so many medications. I remember when I saw Santa walk into my room, I was like, wait, is it real? Like, is Santa here? And they came and it was obviously, uh, I don't want to ruin Santa for people. It was Santa, guys. Santa brought me a little gift. And I think around that time too, I also changed my perspective, like as far as gifts go and stuff. I don't didn't really care about material stuff. It was more so just the experience of having like Santa came in and took pictures with me, and I was like in a children's unit and to just see how happy the other kids were. Like my hospital did that, and those are the memories that I do remember. I also remember the person who was in charge of that unit. She actually gave me her tiny Christmas tree from her office, and she put it in my room. And then they came and they helped me put up lights in my room, and they would always come in and like draw on my whiteboard and stuff. So I think it's those little things that helped me, and I really do feel so grateful to have had a team that made such a daunting time in my life and such an I mean, it's always inconvenient to have cancer, but it just feels even heavier when it takes away from things that you're used to, like traditions around holidays. So it meant a lot to me to know that they were there trying to make things feel as happy and uplifting and hopeful for me as possible. So that's what my team did. I remember I got like a couple little gifts. Again, it wasn't about the gifts, it was more so just people coming in and spreading holiday cheer. But Christmas around hospital time was different for sure. But it's interesting how we all kind of hold on to the good memories, huh? Because
Yeah.
if I think really hard, I think about the bad parts. But if I just think about it really quickly, like I think about those little things, and that's what we carry with us, you know?
Yeah,
So what would your
for sure.
hospitals do around that time? Because were you guys also treated pediatrically?
Yep,
Yeah.
Did your hospitals do
Yeah.
anything like that special? Did Santa come into
they
your room
did.
too, or did you guys hallucinate Santa too? Or
I don't think I
One of my
hallucinate.
doctors, she actually gave me like a medium-sized Christmas tree, like you were talking about. It was pretty big and it took up a lot of space in the room, but we weren't allowed to put lights on it, which was kind of not fun. But
No.
I remember that my aunt, she lives like an hour away from where my hospital was. And her Sunday group, they drew on little ornaments and I got to put them on the tree and it felt so special that their stuff was on the tree. And we also had Santa and then one of my nurses dressed up as the Grinch and it was so funny. And she was
That's
like, "It's
so
Hanukkah."
good.
I'm like, "I'm sure it is." And then I have one more thing. Um, Not really sure if I'm supposed to talk about. I think I can talk about it, but they can't talk about it. But they broke me out in December to go see the Capitol because it's all dressed up in Christmas lights and
Mhm.
they have this huge tree that's in the middle. And so I got a private tour of that and I got to see the carolers. They're really good. They're like from around the state and they come and they sing. It was a really cool experience and it was just
I
nice to get out the hospital.
Yeah, I love that your team did that for you because honestly, like being cooped up in the same room, the same four walls for so long, oh, it drives you crazy. Like it was just so whenever our teams kind of do little things like that, like whether they're allowed to or not, like it means a lot to us because like right now you're remembering that, like that's what you
Yeah.
hold on to, that they went the extra mile to help your days feel not so like monotonous. That's really cool. That's a fun little side quest. We won't tell anyone watching. We don't talk about it. It stays here. This is
Think
a safe
we're
space.
allowed to talk about it. It's just like on their side, because then everybody's gonna want to do stuff like that.
Hey, we don't name
It
drop.
was
We don't name drop. We
it was
appreciate them.
mostly for like long-term patients that are said to be there for like months or a year or so. Like even just like small things, like for long-term patients, they're allowed to like walk outside the unit and stuff with nurses and things. Because like most short-term patients, they don't get out the unit because they're just going home soon.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's I loved my team. I loved the staff. Like they did a lot for not just me, but the other kids there. So it was really special. What about you, Matthew? How was it for you? What did your team do? What was your hospital like around that time?
Yeah, around that time, so I had around two Christmases because I had
Mhm.
one during treatment and then one just post a surgery.
Mhm.
Post surgery, I was in, well, I have to say, it was like night and day because I was in pediatric, I was in Children's Hospital, Wisconsin, um, during my treatment. And, there's decorations, you can make ornaments. And then it was just like, there's a hall, a glass hall, or with windows, and they would always decorate the windows, and it would be so cool. They would have like little
Mhm.
fake snow around it, and in Wisconsin, well, yeah, you guys are not from snow areas. It gets really cold, and there's a lot of snow. So
Yeah, no, you're
there's,
talking to a California girl. It's still
yeah,
warm
I
here in like
know.
November.
So there would be times where it would just be the glass and then you could see fake snow and then also just like real snow coming down. It was so cool. And then during surgery, so a year later, I was in kind of the adult side and there was like no decorations. And I was like, what are we doing? What's going on? Like there's no festivities. And I was just like, oh my God. So it was, yeah, it was just like completely bare. Um, so yeah, I would say pediatric center definitely got a up on the adult center because it was just they would always do a ton of decoration. Doesn't matter. It was like Thanksgiving, Halloween. They even did like April Fool's stuff
Hmm.
where they have again, it was just like it was really cool what they were able to do with the glass hallway.
Hmm.
And always have something to do. And I think that was really helpful because it always give a landmark onto
Hmm.
because you do treatment for so many months, it just kind of all blurs together. And so it was really
Hmm.
nice to have a landmark of, oh, this is April Fool's. And I remember not really a holiday, but uh I'm a huge Bucks fan. I uh live around Milwaukee
Hmm.
and there's this one doctor who if you ever go to a Bucks game, they always have him. He does this wave like this, and it's really simple wave, but he is like known around Milwaukee for it. And during the playoffs, he always like kind of dyes his hair or spray paints his hair, and the patients are able to do that. So I remember spray painting his hair green for the playoffs. So that was really fun.
Yeah,
It's
that's
just yeah,
it's
it's
just the
just
little
little
things
things
I
like
feel
that.
like, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, the little things make the
Yeah.
biggest impact, I think. Actually, now that you talk about snow, after I was like, oh, I'm from California, there's actually one really magical moment, guys, like right now, like my inner child. I was in the hospital and it was like, I'm pretty sure it was around Christmas time or maybe like after Christmas. It was just around that time. It got really cold and then they came into my room. They were like, look out your window, it's snowing. And like I'm in Southern California. Like that doesn't happen, especially where Loma Linda is located. Like I don't think that's very common. But we went, obviously like the snow didn't really stick, but like you could see it. And I remember just being like, it's the little things, honestly. Like this is what I'm gonna remember. And right now, like the nostalgia, saying snow, you just pulled that from like the depths of my mind. Like I remember because couldn't really walk at that point. Like they did their best to get me as close to the window as possible. So I was able to see and I remember it just being so heartwarming and stuff. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna remember this. So it's nice. I mean, it goes beyond Christmas, like how you were saying, the other holidays and stuff, they do serve as kind of like landmarks, especially for us. They tell us like your map is gonna be like 9 months or so. Like it's each holiday that you hit is like a step closer to finishing that part of your treatment. And for some people, it does continue, but it does serve as kind of like, I'm getting there, you know? So it's really
Mhm.
nice. I mean, justice for the adults too, because I think we all want decorations around the holidays and stuff. Just because we're
Oh,
older, guys, please. Just because we're older. I'm begging, like, put a good little Christmas tree up in my room, you know?
or at
But
least have some decoration. It's like,
something.
guys,
Mhm.
it's like the holiday season. You could have, there was not even like New Year's Eve stuff. I mean, I was
Yeah.
there until like, I think the 28th. There's nothing for New Year's Eve. I was like, come on, guys. This is a
I
big
mean,
deal.
just anything, you know, like just the small stuff. And then there's also like a variety of holidays, you know, like with different cultures and different backgrounds and stuff. Like it's all so beautiful. And it's so heartwarming when the hospital cares to kind of appreciate those holidays. You know, even if like the little things. Like it's like around Valentine's Day, you draw a heart on my little board and I'm like, "Oh, it's Valentine's Day. Like I feel loved, guys." Like it makes a huge, huge difference for sure. What about like I think we each have our own personal national holiday. That's what I call my birthday. So National Sammy Day. For my birthday, I was just diagnosed. Like I was diagnosed actually 5 days before my 20th birthday. So I was diagnosed, and then within 2 days I was in the hospital, and then I had a biopsy the day before my birthday, if I remember correctly. And no, actually, I had my port placed the day before my birthday, and on my birthday I had a biopsy. But I remember being like out of it. There's like videos of me sitting in my bed, kind of just like la la la. Like I don't know. I didn't know if I was a real person at that point because yeah, shout out to like the medication and stuff. But I remember my team, they made me a banner, and granted, I had just been diagnosed. They had just met me, but like the hospital, the team, they on a banner, they wrote really nice like messages for me that I still have to this day. Like I keep it in my closet and every once in a while, especially around my birthday, I like to go back and look at it because it's just like so heartwarming to think that they care. And they probably do like see how tough it is to experience those big milestones in the hospital. So, were you guys in the hospital around your birthdays or what did that look like?
I Yeah, it was funny you said that. I was diagnosed early August, and then my birthday is September 3rd, and
Hmm.
then my first treatment was September 5th. So I remember it was like a one last hurrah. Um, it's a long story. I love the Red Sox. I know I'm from Milwaukee. I like the Red Sox. So it was just kind of one last thing before treatment. I was able to go to New York and see a Red Sox game, and that was super cool. And I remember one of my family members hooked me up. They got me on the jumbotron, and I was pointing to a Red Sox hat in the Yankee Stadium, and that was really fun because it was everyone was like boo, but it was so funny. I
Yeah,
love
you said,
it.
you know what? This is my moment. Let me
Yeah, I
let me
know.
support my team.
Yeah,
That's so
yeah,
special. That's cool. What about
but
you, Mackenzie?
yes.
Where did you spend like your birthday in the hospital at any point?
I spent many in the hospital except for like appointments. And
Hmm.
I remember one time I did bring like birthday hats,
Hmm.
and every person I saw, I made them put a hat on and take a picture with me.
Oh, that's cute. I remember during mine too, one of like the first nurses that like I grew really close with, we had to wear masks at that time. I mean, it was 2022, still like post-COVID, we were getting more into like the comfortable aspect of it where like things weren't as strict, but especially in like the unit we were in, we're all immunocompromised. So I remember since I had to wear a mask, like they wrote "It's my birthday" on my mask, and like I had like my little mask on, and it was like written kind of sloppy, and when it was like spread out, you couldn't really read what it. But like I felt special because I was like, you know what? Hell yeah! Like today is my day. Like it's my birthday, and I'm sitting there all hopped up on the medication. It was not the ideal 20th birthday, but they did their best to make it feel warm and happy and joyous despite the circumstances that I found myself in. So. Did you guys have any like negative experiences during the holidays? Like anything that kind of loomed over the holidays or made things feel weird. Like, I don't know if you guys have any experiences like that. Like, I remember for me, when I do try to think of like the not so great part of it, I was obviously recovering from the limb salvage surgery. My pain wasn't being managed very well. So I just remember like trying to enjoy certain parts of it, but not being able to because the pain was so overwhelming. And I try not to think about that kind of part, but the reality of the situation is that sometimes, a lot of the times, we are in a position where you try to feel joyous, but there's other factors that cancer has brought upon us that don't really allow us to enjoy those experiences. Do you guys have any memories like that?
Yeah, I remember. So my treatment regimen was I would have methotrexate, doxorubicin, and cisplatin. And I remember
Mhm.
cisplatin was it would just be knock me out, just knock me out. And I remember it would be during holidays. I remember specifically it was Thanksgiving. I I mean, you want to enjoy these holidays, but it was just sometimes it's just really hard just to stay present, I suppose. Since you feel so drained and then you just feel so sick. Like I just remember
Mhm.
being nauseous all the time. So I
Mhm.
remember specifically sitting down in Thanksgiving and I just none of the food looked good at all. And that was just it was very odd because first of all, pumpkin pie is like my favorite food in the world.
You're
I
preaching to the choir. You're preaching to the choir. I love pumpkin pie.
I love pumpkin pie. Uh but yeah, it was very odd because um for me, even if it was just not the specific day, so not like Thanksgiving Day, I was able to celebrate some of the holidays. But yeah, it's very strange when you're going through treatment how you feel, whether you feel good sometimes, whether you just don't want to even see food at all,
Mhm.
whether you're just nauseous, want to lay down, want to just sleep.
Yeah.
On a side note, I cannot tell you the amount of times I've slept through classes during that time. I would try to go to classes and it would be like twice a month and I would just be sleeping the whole time. That's a different story, but yeah.
That's how it is. Yeah, it's like a consistent fatigue that impacts every little aspect of your life. And it's interesting that you bring up Thanksgiving too, because I also like remember I love Thanksgiving. Like ask me what my favorite food is. I love Thanksgiving ham. The things I would do for Thanksgiving ham, guys, like it we won't go there. But I remember like sitting there for Thanksgiving and it was just like because I just had my surgery. I remember they actually like brought food to like to hospital for me and stuff. And I remember just like I was so excited. Like I was like, oh, they're gonna bring me the Thanksgiving food, right? And then I remember being there and being like nothing that I don't want it. And I was so heartbroken because I was like, who am I right now? Like why? Why? And it's also like cisplatin also would mess me up the worst. Like of the three of methotrexate, doxorubicin, and cisplatin, I think cisplatin was my least favorite because the way that I felt so crummy and so tired and so fatigued and like just every single side effect that you could possibly have, I had it. And then like the Zofran and the Ativan and the
Yeah.
Benadryl and everything, like I was just like, oh, I cannot have enough of this right now. Like it just does not help. So it's interesting to think that, or it's actually comforting, I guess, in a way, in a weird way, to think that you're not the only person that's feeling that, you know? Because you
Mhm.
try to enjoy these holidays and then chemo, the aftermath of chemo just makes you feel gross. So that's it's interesting. I remember New Year's too. I spent New Year's actually out of the hospital. That's when I don't know. I know what I'm allowed to share in here, but
You can cut it out if it's
we don't have to cut it out, but let me say I cut someone out of my life
oh,
on New Year's
okay.
Eve. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah, I went into 2023 150 pounds lighter, guys. And I think you could put two and two together to figure out what that means. Because you know what? You got to take care of yourself, especially around the holidays and stuff. Like, I wanted to have a good New Year's. And that might have been the best New Year's I ever had. Because look at me now. So happy. Didn't need it. Didn't need it. So
Good
it's
for
just,
you.
yeah, thank you. But it's just interesting that, like, these are the things we remember. And then now I just like, I look at holidays so different now. Like when holiday seasons roll around, they feel a little bit different. I find myself reminiscing. I feel more appreciative now of certain holidays, and also as far as like gifts go and materialistic stuff, I feel like it changed. Like all of us are kind of changed because I remember at that time around the holidays, like and the whole time, like people want to give us stuff to comfort us and stuff, and material things stopped mattering because the only thing that I wanted was my health. Um, and I think holidays will forever kind of be changed for most of us. Like we reminisce, we think about it, we compare, like it's different now, but it's not always bad. Like I think we grow a level of appreciation because of the unfortunate events that happen around holidays sometimes. So,
I think for me, holidays is just about being present now. Like like you said about material stuff, it just it feels so unimportant. And I guess for me, I was 15 when I went through the treatment, so it was already a formative part of my life,
mhm.
kind of a transition part. But I've always felt after the fact that, materials doesn't really matter. I just for, certain holidays like Thanksgiving, for me it was Christmas. I just kind of want to be home. I want to be with my family. I want to be just relaxing. And for me, I always found a lot of comfort in the holidays now. Just being lucky to be able to experience the holidays again and just being relaxed and with my family. So,
It's true. I mean, I find myself sometimes like everyone's kind of talking and just doing their thing, and I kind of sit back and look around and I'm like, this is nice.
yeah.
I needed this. Like it's nice in comparison, and like how you're saying, just like being present, and like I'm very, very big on family, like my culture and my background and the way I was raised and stuff like that. Like we're heavy on the family aspect. So I think the most special part for me now is just being able to have those holidays with people and not have it be limited because of exterior circumstances, cancer. Yeah, like the trying to not name it cancer. Yeah, like it's just messed you up. And I really appreciate now being around my family more. Like I noticed that I hug them a little harder. Like it's like we laugh a little bit more, we smile more. Like it's just the dynamic is different. And around these holidays, I think I've said it this whole episode, like the level of appreciation I have now for holidays, not because of material stuff or things I get or all of that, but just being able to be present with your family, I think is the biggest takeaway.
And I think for the not just us, I think, my whole family, even my really closest friends, they've experienced some sort of change after my treatment, even. So when I think about, just being like, for example, it's coming up Thanksgiving, uh, I obviously appreciate it a lot more, but I think they do too.
Hmm.
Because they remember the times where, we had to make certain adjustments. I had to go out of the hospital with a bag of fluids
Hmm.
to kind of do all that stuff and jump through some hoops and worry. And now it's really nice because I think we all understand and appreciate what we have right now.
Absolutely. How is it for you, MacKenzie? Like, do you share the same thoughts? Like, I know you've kind of told me that like you're pretty close with your family. It seems like you have like a really big support system but like even your friends and stuff like that. Friends become family. How is that for you?
Yeah, during like chemo days, I don't remember like a lot of the holidays I had because most of them were like small things like St. Patrick's Day and Easter. Well, Easter's not small, but just like tiny ones. You don't like get a
Mhm.
week off for school for
Yeah.
them. So I don't remember a lot of them, but I remember like my second go around when I had my heart stuff. I appreciated even the holidays in the hospital a lot more. And then getting out the hospital again, just like it feels so much better to just be at home or at my grandma's house because that's where we spend like Christmas and stuff. And it's so nice to just be around family because like
Mhm.
a lot of my stuff was very COVID time, so I didn't get to
Mhm.
see like them like almost ever. So
Mhm. Yeah. It's just, it's a lot to process, and it's interesting. Like it's a weird sense of nostalgia thinking back on specifics surrounding holidays, like all throughout the year. Like it's a little different. But For you guys, do you have any tips for anyone currently entering the holiday season? Like Matthew said, like we're going into like Thanksgiving and then December holidays. Like, do you guys have any tips for people who are hospitalized to keep their spirits up and to keep the holiday cheer and to just allow yourself to feel not so dreadful around the holidays? Like, do you guys have any pointers
I
for
do.
people that are currently in that situation?
Yeah. This is not specifically for like individuals, but like family members that could want to help. My grandma, she did this even before I had cancer because she lives like 12 hours away. She would send like this big box full of like holiday things. So like Halloween, it was full up with candy and like things like that. But when I was in the hospital, she sent one. Um, I don't remember what it was, but one was for Mardi Gras, and it was full of Mardi Gras beads, and we got to hand them out. And then I remember one of my nurses that I'd given one to coming back and asking for another one because one of her kiddos had seen it and wanted one. And then I got another big box for Christmas. It was, and they were like headbands with antlers and light up Christmas lights, necklaces, and I got to go in my wheelchair, wheel around, and hand them out. And it was just so nice to see the nurses so appreciative of them. So
Mhm.
that like boosted my spirits. But another thing for like individuals, my nurses taught me how to like make snowflakes and huge snowflakes, and we made some for the other kids on the floor. It was just something nice to like pass the time for sure,
Mhm.
like just little crafts like that.
Yeah, that's a really good point, honestly. Like, find enjoyment in the little things. I think that's something to really keep prominent in your mind during times like this. What about you, Matthew? Any tips for our friends that are currently going through that?
Yeah, I think just being around people for me uh was the best part about holidays and still is the best part of holidays. Trust me, during treatment, there are times where I said, everyone just get out, just let me be by myself. But I think for holidays, especially like Thanksgiving, and Christmas for me, it was just all about being with people and being with people that you love. So for me, even like gifts or even decorations, it really didn't matter as much as just being with the people that I love. So
Mhm.
I think for me and for a lot of people, being with people and just being surrounded by people during holidays was just the best part. And I think that's some way to help. Also, I think just keeping, like I said, little uh, core things about holidays that you love and trying to do that inside the hospital. So whether that's decorating a tree or whether that's for Thanksgiving, well, for me, eating pumpkin pie if you can, uh, or Halloween, dressing up, just little things that are really fun and it's your favorite part about the holiday. Just try to
Mhm.
keep doing.
No, absolutely. Like, find the little things that you enjoy, like, hold on to them. Um, it's going to be different. It's not going to feel the same, but that's not always awful. And just continue to surround yourself with people who love you and who you love and who embrace you during these times of uncertainty. I think that's really uplifting. And I think it all boils down to the fact that the holidays are what you make of them. And I think for me, what makes them great are the people that I love. So thank you both for sharing. I don't know if you have any other thoughts before we wrap up. This has been a really, really great episode. I'm a little emotional. This is actually our last episode of the year. So a lot of emotions surrounding it, but it's also a really important one because I know as holiday season is approaching, there's a lot of people who feel down and it's a really tough time to be in the hospital. But I hope that the tips and the stories and everything that we share in this episode resonate with you and kind of give you a little hope. And you're not alone in those feelings, and you can always find support here with us. Thank you for tuning in to OsteoWarriors, the Osteosarcoma podcast. Be sure to follow MIB Agents on social media at the links in the description for all the intel. Thank you so much, Matthew and MacKenzie, for joining us. And to my co host, Mia, who's a little under the weather, we hope you feel better very soon. This is our last show of the year. Thank you all who have been supporting us this year and who tune in to listen to us. I hope that it's impactful and I hope that it brings a sense of joy and comfort and that you take away positive things from our podcast. Thank you all again for joining us. Enjoy your holidays. Always remember to spread love and not hate, even in times of uncertainty. We'll see you next year. I'm your host, Sammy, and that's the tea. Bye. Thank you, everyone.